I cannot believe what was happening because nobody can sit here and say that they expected Colorado to actually go in to TCU, who was the runner up in the national championship. Now, let alone, yes, they did get shelled out to the NFL. And I guess the 17th ranking was more of what you were last season more than what we're going to expect from you in 2023. But as we all know, Colorado upsets TCU in an amazing season opener. Deion Sanders' debut at Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, Dylan Edwards, all the players that we saw making an impact on this game. And if you're a TCU fan, go ahead and click off the pod. If you're a Colorado fan, go ahead and turn your listening ears on because this is strictly about what the Colorado Buffaloes did on Saturday and the Coach Prime effect, how it's showing us already what it's going to do, what's going to happen, and he is great for college football right now. It's a different era. Let's not kid ourselves. It's totally a different era for college football with the transport portal, this, that, and the third. But they do win 45-42. We'll start off the top with Shedeur Sanders. People saying that Shedeur was only good because he was protected by his daddy as at an HBCU coming from Jackson State is absolute utter bullshit when you look at Shedeur Sanders as an actual NFL prospect, which he has become even with just this one game at Colorado. He was already a prospect at Jackson State, but we know the HBCUs aren't necessarily shed a line on. Now, I'm not going to say he's a first-round talent like I've heard a lot of my favorite shows out there and a lot of people that I respect in the industry saying just yet, because we know how college football can be. It makes or breaks, quarterbacks, especially in the NFL when we're talking about what type of college defenses are you playing against? Are you really playing against SEC competition, ACC? What conference are you really coming from to see that defensive competition? But Shedeur Sanders damn sure played like a first-round NFL prospect. We want to talk about Caleb Williams, Drake May. I can't remember the quarterback for Texas, but we know we've got some quarterback prospects in this draft. Shedeur Sanders, I believe, will firmly insert himself into the first-round conversation potentially as a quarterback because of the type of talent he was able to show us, and not even just because of that one game, but if you've watched Shedeur Sanders' tape, you will know exactly what he brings to the table, the accuracy, the mobility, the off-platform throws, seeing the field, the short throws, over the middle, deep pass, pocket presence, composure, no turnovers, essentially mistake-free football. And I had to ask myself as I was watching Shedeur playing this game, I was like, damn, am I looking at another Jalen Hurts right now? Am I watching a 6'2 quarterback that's got a good build, can deliver the ball, can see the field well, is very intelligent, is a great character, and not to mention he's the son of Deion Sanders, so he's a crazy athlete. Am I looking at another Jalen Hurts in front of me? And when I saw him out there, when I've looked at some of his tape, when you look back at his numbers, like it is very impressive what Shedeur Sanders is doing right now. You look at 2021 Jackson State, 66% completion, 3,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions with a 151.7 passer rating. 2022, still at Jackson State, again, under Deion Sanders. Ups that completion percentage to 70.6, another 500 passing yards with 3,732, 40 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he got better in those departments, less picks, more touchdowns, and he brought the passer rating up to 160.4. And of course, in the one game with Colorado already, 80.9% completion, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, no interceptions, and a 200.1 rating in this game. He set the Colorado football record for most passing yards in a game, and it was the most yards by an FBS quarterback entering their debut since 1969. And the numbers don't stop there. Again, you guys better have your listening ears on because the numbers that actually came out of this performance and when you dig into what Colorado's done and how they played against TCU, absolutely insane. We look at Travis Hunter playing both sides of the football, playing 144 total snaps, 80 on offense, 64 on defense, became the first D1 athlete in 20 years to have 100 receiving yards and an interception in the same game, shattering the previous Colorado record of 114 for most snaps played in a single game. Yes, Travis Hunter was playing wide receiver and was also playing corner. More on Travis Hunter here. He led Colorado in receiving yards, 11 catches for 119 yards. Great 43-yard grab from 43 yards on a 3rd and 16 that was late in the game to keep that Colorado drive alive. Now, defensively, again, he played on the other side of the ball. Defensively, Deion also says that Travis Hunter is a number 1 pick on both sides of the ball. That's how much he believes in his players. We'll get more into prime here in a second. Defensively, though, he recorded a critical interception deep in Colorado territory to end that TCU drive, and he also added a touchdown-saving tackle and 3 pass breakups. This is one player playing both sides of the football here. Freshman running back Dylan Edwards was absolutely insane in this as well. He launched himself, what some people say, into the Heisman consideration with this performance, no doubt about it. 177 yards from scrimmage, 4 total touchdowns. First time a Colorado Buffalo rather has reached the end zone that often in a game. 2 short catches to the house for 75. 46 yards. He did just have 6 carries for 4 yards apiece, so that gave him 24 yards in the game. But he also caught 5 passes for the 135 yards and had 142 yards after the catch, with him catching some of those in the backfield, if that kind of confuses you there with the numbers. But you look at him, he's a mismatch with the game-breaking speed and the ability to really make people miss. Now, let's get into the little bit of the what wasn't so good necessarily about this game between Colorado and TCU. As a lot of people were talking about the defense, of course, we know that Shedeur Sanders had 510 yards. We know that Colorado only rushed for about 60 yards. We know that TCU ran all over the yard against Colorado, and they threw the football okay. Chandler Morris did have 2 interceptions. And of course, uh, Colorado did have the fumble as well, but they win the turnover battle there. So before, what I hear a lot of people saying is, oh, I want to see more. And don't get me wrong, I want to see more as well. But it wasn't meaningless. It wasn't awful. This was a debut on the road. You're an underdog by 20 and a half points. So we'll just say 21 points. And you go in there in your debut and win. We'll dig into that a little more later. But to understand the defense in this game, yes, it wasn't great for either side. Looking at Colorado's D line, they didn't have a sack, they didn't have a tackle for a loss, and the Buffs were credited with just 2 quarterback hurries, gave up 262 yards rushing. But their offensive line was okay. They gave up 4 sacks, only allowed 55 yards rushing, so you want to see better out of that. But give them credit for where it's due. 2 red zone rushing touchdowns, converted 2 key third and short situations on the ground, and they'll have to be better on the offensive line without a question. But when you look at the end of the day with this team in the Colorado Buffaloes, they had more first downs. They dominated time of possession. They were better on third and fourth down. They won the turnover battle, and they had less penalties. All in a debut for Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, and not to mention the 86 new players that was granted to this team. And this team honestly just showed the ability to play in the face of adversity. When you look at them having multiple fourth quarter leads taken away from them, they made plays time and time and time and time again, and they forced TCU to make a better play. They said, show me what you can do. We're going to get number 2 out here in Shedeur Sanders. We're going to get Travis Hunter. We're going to get Dylan Edwards. We're going to make plays. These guys know how to ball. TCU, it's up to you. And of course, we're all getting worried there for a second if you're a Colorado fan, because whoever touched the ball last was probably going to win this game. Well, TCU's defense in that, Colorado's defense in that perspective stepped up to the occasion. They had a stop on 3rd and 14. Or excuse me, not on 3rd and 14. They had a stop on 4th and 9. The game-saving drive from the Colorado defense. So they bent, but they didn't break. They won the turnover battle in key moments and really making that game-saving stop on 4th down. You can't say that Colorado's defense didn't perform enough to win that football game, because at the end of the day, they did. And again, I get it was against number 17 TCU, who unloaded most of their team into the NFL, and there was really no defense again in this game on both sides of the ball. But Coach Prime made a major step with his upset win on the road in front of a record crowd with a record amount of new players.